We ready to roll?
We are.
All right, I'll call the meeting to order. First order of business is last, was it 2 nights ago, we talked about regulations regarding the ladies' bathtub.
Yep, so I met with
Okay.
the deputy and Nate. And so a couple of things are, and Jeff will talk a lot more about it, but so I asked if we could establish an actual detail. Number of days to be determined by the PD, but definitely weekend or weekend days. And actually a beach patrol, if you are, swimming hole patrol, if you will. And we're gonna do that and on the detail, as a detail, not as an assignment, a patrol assignment. And that will start this weekend, hopefully. It will. And
will that be just ladies or ladies?
all three of our published Bay Wayside.
The ones that you can find online, we
Yeah,
don't publish them, but yeah.
Okay, and also every Monday morning, Nate's gonna have one of his staff in there to pick up garbage. At least, especially at
Ladies.
but he's gonna check them all. They'll check them all. So that's what we've done in 2 days. So then Jeff can talk.
Chief Morris is out of touch, so I shot out an email, and he finally got back to me actually about a couple hours ago. He put in his 2 cents worth. I said it's worth mentioning, and he did not have the qualifying information about what's going on in Woodstock as much. He suggested maybe considering getting the rec department involved. He says maybe monitors, if there is a way to quantify how many people should be at the spot. Again, this is all something that would be a little bit time consuming to get going, but I thought it was worth mentioning because I didn't think it was a bad idea. However, that being said, I went over to talk to Judy Welsh over in Woodstock, and I said, I'm just trying to get the scope of your problem so I know what to deal with ours. And she gave me a few things of what they're doing. Woodstock has a trash and poor respect for the property epidemic. Sorry to use that word, but it's going bad. And they have sent officers to the place to the point where people are not being receptive at all to law enforcement, where they're suggesting that call in more law enforcement. I'm not talking riots, I'm not talking, just for safety and making sure the message gets out. They're putting up signs, they are doing directed patrols like we are. What ours are going to consist of is I'm gonna have patrol officers drive by in between other calls. So I would imagine 2 or 3 times a day, someone will check in, but there won't be a patrol as directed like our detail. The detail is actually gonna get out of the car, walk down, start talking to people, look into things, see what they see, hear what they hear, smell what they smell, and deal with whatever's happening. If people can't go to the swimming areas and not act appropriately, meaning don't bring your alcohol, don't bring your fire pits, don't bring all the stuff you're not supposed to have, we'll shoo them along. If we take that away, it might be distasteful enough where we're starting to displace some of the people. I shared that with Judy, and she said, well, we are at our last leg, and their signs actually read, if you don't behave, we're going to shut this down.
Yeah.
That's what the signage says.
Yeah.
And I said, well, that's going to mean you're going to displace the problem likely into our neighborhood where we might have to deal with that. So this is a kind of a preemptive strike, if you will, to make sure that we're there, we're seen, that the message gets out, and that if there are obvious violations, I have the detail in the email posting I sent, which is we're going to just give you the violations, the town ordinance violation, saying, stop it, beat it, stop it, get out of here, stop it, until the message is received. And warnings, they work occasionally, but when you're trying to head off a problem, the tickets actually are more effective. It stings a little bit more so they remember, and then they change behavior. So again, we're not looking to raise money, we're looking to make sure we don't have the problem that Woodstock does.
Yeah, I was down there last night actually, and there was no one down there at the time, but a black bear came out, which is wonderful. I love bears, and I took pictures of it and stuff. But looking for food where he had obviously found it before, and that yesterday I picked up a bunch of all the garbage down there. I went back today and I picked up another bag of garbage that happened from, because when I was down there at 7, I didn't see much, but it must happen during the night from 7 to 10. We're gonna have a curfew at 10 or 11. People are going down there later, obviously.
Well, that's been the culture here in town forever anyway, right? I mean, when the bars close, it'll help people.
Oh,
get
yeah,
to
yeah,
swim
yeah.
over.
And if we have the curfew at 10, they may help
Yeah.
the association. So the signs, what I was getting at, the signs that we have are posted right in front of a parking lot, a parking space. So a car is in front of it, people aren't seeing the COVID thing that we put out or anything low. So that would have to be moved away from, put it more towards the entry and not have it, be blocked by a car, because to their defense,
At
maybe
which
they're
pole?
not seeing it.
The light pole.
Ladies,
It's the pole
Ladies.
with a light on it.
there's a pole and it has 3 signs, but there's a parking space right in front of it, which prohibits folks from seeing about the COVID, because I went down there today with a mask on and no one else had masks on, obviously. But maybe they just can't see the sun. And I went swimming today, which was wonderful. It's the first time I've been in the water in years. So, so that would be helpful, but they could read the signs.
Part of the instructions for the detail officer is, as you see the problems, usually you don't necessarily see the problems until the problems are starting to outgrow the space. So if it's a parking problem, if it's a sign problem, if it's an awareness problem, hopefully that will be cleared up with the law enforcement presence. Our goal is to make people do the right thing, so we don't have to write a ticket. Just tell them what to do. Move your car. You can't park there. And if signage, I directed them to say, if you need signs, if you need help from Public Works or the department, let us know so we can make it. We're trying to make it fair. We're not setting people up for failure. We just want to direct them so they know what to do. So we
This
don't end up-
afternoon, we put another sign, Nate put another sign up that included the fire pits
good.
and stuff. I don't know where he put it. The post was full, so.
Right.
That must have been ladies that post this full there.
Yeah, and it was that ladies, he put up
Is there a
another
post
sign.
at Old Hole? Is there even a post up there?
No.
There's
Well,
there's
there's a sign up
COVID
there.
signs.
Oh, there is
on
COVID
trees,
signs, yeah.
on
Yeah.
trees.
But that obviously, and I don't know, I think, Ron, did you forward Ron did some Google searches and because I think Jane at the meeting Monday night said, who's advertising, and I didn't know we were advertising. Well, it turns out it's on Google Maps, which means, and one of the most recent quotes in that was from a resident at
Right.
the condos praising
How good it was.
how good it was
Yeah.
and putting it out to the world that come here, and they were in complaining. So
Right.
it's only one owner, I got it, but
Right.
still, so it's not the town. It's like, it's
Right.
now on the maps.
It's on
I don't-
cswim.com.
Fay Wayside is on the map,
Yeah.
and,
Outdoor magazine.
Georgiana Falls is on it too.
and Georgiana
Yeah.
Falls.
Yeah, I mean, basically, every little attraction Google Maps has found, and then other places, whatever, sea and ski or
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah,
have
And interestingly,
pulled them off, and so, the information is out there. I mean, that's what the web.
and interesting to me was it like
Useful.
the secret diners who go and rate restaurants. There's a lady writing reviews of tourist things like the swimming hole things
Free
And-
things, yeah.
and putting it out on that same
Free things.
free
Free
thing.
entry, yeah.
And so
Yeah.
we've been found. I mean,
I
you
mean,
can't
it's-
get that off.
And
You
I think,
can't get,
No,
no, you can, I guess. That's what I was wondering before.
So,
On Monday night.
Yeah.
One of the things that, and you had made reference to, maybe, Captain, was the restricting the numbers, or at some point when you have like 200 people down there, it's overbearing for everybody, and they're obviously not 6 feet away. So restricting the numbers in some of the areas, I think, are important, especially at ladies. There's not a whole lot of room anymore, and the beach is all full of water now. There's no beach left. I don't know what happened. Was it the
And
hurricane?
it hasn't been for years.
yeah.
Really?
yeah.
Because it's been how
Yeah.
years
Yeah.
since I've been down
Yeah,
there.
the river's been
So,
changing a lot. over
Ron was gonna give us a estimate at some point of how many people actually, they should be down there for the amount of space that we
I don't know how
have.
you'd enforce that. I don't know how you'd enforce it.
Well, because it's outdoors, I mean, it's not an enclosed outdoor space, so yeah, I don't know how you'd get a number to quantify. Couple of questions. We had talked about restricting it, or I guess you voted to restrict it to Lincoln, Woodstock residents and taxpayers only. Now, there are many Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, et cetera, plates that own property here and can legally and rightfully use it. However, how difficult is that going to be for you?
Very. And I brought that up when I was talking to Judy, because they've already revisited this. And they said, limiting access to public waterways is virtually illegal. So you can't do that.
I'd like to see that.
You can, I'll scare
I'd
it.
like to see an RSA, yeah, thank you.
What you can do, it's kind of an end around, is restrict the parking nearby, because that's land.
Right.
Now you're gonna have to come up with a parking permit system, which sounds maybe easy on face, but cumbersome in follow through, because everyone would need a permit. Then we'd have to verify the permits that you had the right car, and that you belong to the car. And not everyone brings their identification when they go swimming. If you're wearing a bathing suit and a towel, that's why you want to go swimming. So logistically, the permit process is going to be difficult, to say the least. I will go get the information about the restricting to limit. I actually discussed that with my wife on the phone a little while ago. He said, why don't you just do that? They do it in other places. I go, it's probably because no one's been written a ticket and contested it yet. Because as soon as they go that and they bring in the RSA, he says, you can't do that, then we lose. And we also look foolish, and we don't want to do that. So I will get that research done. I will make sure I email you copies. And I have no reason to believe that she's misleading me, other than it could be an interpretation thing, but I don't think it is.
But if the ordinance were related to parking, like we own the parking area,
Right.
that you need a sticker to park there, and only residents and taxpayers can get stickers. All others will be towed. There's an enforcement side of that,
Yes,
and I know tons of other places do that.
yes.
But regardless of the enforcement side of it, which I shouldn't say regardless, because that's you.
That's what we're doing.
Regardless of you. No, but aside from that, wouldn't that just be a deterrent in general? I mean, if I pulled up to a place and it said, you need a sticker to park here and only visitors and taxpayers can get stickers, and my car will be towed, I wouldn't park there.
I would say the average rational person would say yes. But as I instructed my wife, if you have to put a sign up to tell a person to do the right thing, chances are they're not going to abide by the sign and not do the right thing.
Yeah, I
So
would totally buy that.
But we can do it. We still have.
we certainly can. We
Option
certainly
to
can.
do it.
And it wouldn't take many cars being removed to spread the word, like, oh, that's a real sign, and
That's
you
right.
should definitely not do that.
Right.
So yes, that is an option.
Yeah.
And if that's something we move forward towards, I'm sure we can do some research that people have already done it. I would say around lake communities like Sunapee and stuff like
Oh,
that,
sure.
they would have all that type of information.
Yeah.
But for here, we are very limited, and I don't know exactly. We're at a point where even if we had stickered cars, the stickered cars might overwhelm the parking area. So what have we done to the problem? Nothing, really.
Well, I think what we're looking for is the people that come in off the road and find it through Google and get down there. So we have indeed limited the problem. Also, what we've done for our taxpayers and for our voters and for our residents is saying that we value you. There's a parking space for you if you decide to go. And I think that's huge, because I believe that it belongs to the taxpayers and the people and residents alike, and it was theirs and it's theirs. Me sitting up here making decisions about it makes me feel a little weird about it. In fact, I'd rather put it at a town meeting and have them vote on it and say, what do you want to do with this swimming hole? Because they own that land. I don't, they don't, Tammy doesn't, it's their land. So I think it's a value to them to have it back, and I think they greatly appreciate it, having a parking space. Now, whether we get somebody, you said you had somebody you were going to get via someone to patrol it or not to patrol it.
Well, it's
or-
gonna be police officers.
Yep.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
We've
So
got
you had
that.
also mentioned you talked to Chief Morris, and one of his suggestions was manning it through the rec department. We had talked about that, and that's, I don't think it's something we wanted to want to get into at this time, because if patrolling it is different than staffing it. If we staff it, then we have to make it accessible, and it puts us in a different insurance category.
Right.
and we're gonna, sinking not only payroll and benefits and insurance but I can't even imagine how many thousands of dollars it would take to make it accessible. So we don't want to go there, but patrolling it is different than staffing it and manning it. So that's kind of where we want to stay.
I think there'll be enough, initially enough activity for a law enforcement person at the whole, and enough of I don't want to say a show, but enough of a presence of the law enforcement action will be forced to be taken, that the word will spread quickly.
Yeah, we're hoping that in a week or two, the deterrent factor will be much greater than what we have with the sign. The sign is supposed to deter you, but I don't know how much it does.
And it,
Let's
you
just
know,
write
and
some
undoubtedly,
reviews,
yeah.
discouraging reviews.
Yeah, and
Well,
and
people
undoubtedly,
Look
there'll
at
be,
those reviews.
Yeah, they
you
will.
know,
And if it's put out there that town of Lincoln is now.
Place is
rolling-
filthy with cops.
Well,
Don't
no.
go there.
I just,
and
I
Woodstock was theirs. I'm
I-
gonna tell you, they're gonna start making arrests down there, and the word will spread.
Yeah,
This is not the friendly place to come. So,
Well,
and,
if you behave
and,
yourself,
and
follow
don't
the
be
rules.
surprised if it isn't some locals that end up in the net, so.
We don't have to say it like locals, like they're
Well,
bad.
I'm just,
Are
not
you
bad.
kidding me?
No, but
No,
it's
I'm sure
locals.
they party down
It-
there.
yeah,
No, I get
yeah.
it. I get it.
Oh,
I
never.
don't wanna give any indications it's all gonna be Massachusetts plates, so.
Has been lately. What I see every time. I go.
So you're good, your office is good,
Yeah.
you're gonna start patrolling it, and
Yes.
maybe we'll hear next Monday about how it's going.
Yes.
Fantastic,
We
we
can definitely do
appreciate you all.
Maybe we'll get some
We,
locals down there
um,
with kids,
That would be good.
families, that's what I'm.
When I was discussing this with the supervisors, to that point, there was a friend of Sergeant DeLucas who had been raised in the Lincoln area, left for a number of years, came back. He says, I haven't been down to any of these swimming holes in a long time. It was really hot. I want to go down. He says it was busiest he's ever seen. He says, but it was family oriented and there wasn't a lot of fooling around. There wasn't stupidity happening down there. He says, take it for what it's worth. It was busy, but not out of control. I go, good, because it sounds like Woodstock is getting to the point of out of control. So that's at least a step in the right direction. And our goal is to make sure it doesn't get any worse.
What swimming hole was he at?
I don't remember. I want to say it was ladies bathtub, but I can't confirm that.
Yeah.
I'm guess, we had talked about restricting it to the residents and taxpayers. I guess I'm hearing that might not be,
I will do more research and report back. I want to say how viable it is. Does it work? Is it helpful? Is it a tool that you can use to affect change to where the problem is? I will reach out, find out,
because I think that the majority of people that are down there on these busy days are non-residents and non-taxpayers who are just here for a day. They're finding the place and they're going down. And there's other places for them to use. It's not like we need those people. That's, they come in and spend money at restaurants and shops and everything else. And we need to be hospitable to them, but we don't need to necessarily open up the one local swimming hole. Old Hole is whatever, 5 times as big, 20 times as big. I mean, just on both sides of the river. It's just such an open area. And yet, I just think that would be a good way to diminish the crowds there. Because it's not necessarily that the people are bad or misbehaving. There are certain instances of that. But just when you get that many people in that small of an area, it does cause a commotion for the condo owners. I mean, it's a real unique situation. I mean, there's condos on both sides of this.
It's a tight area.
It's tight.
Well, it was a residential community that was built around a swimming hole.
Yeah.
so-
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and the other thing, we talked about this before, businesses have a restriction of their capacity. The water park and Clark's and everything, but also the pools at the resorts have capacity limits. So once they reach that, they're looking
Right.
for somewhere else to go,
Right,
which is the river and
right. And the residents are allowed to swim in their pools.
what's that?
we don't have residents are not allowed to swim in people's pools.
You mean in commercial pools that are,
Oh, there are
Like a
hotels and
hotel?
hotels and millions of pools are not allowed to swim there, so it's good that they have a place, in my book. It's right for them, it's fair.
So
I know what I need to do.
So that's where we're at.
all right,
So
We'll make sure that we're there, and then in the meantime, I'll be researching what else we can do.
wait, I have another question.
Okay.
What do you think about a 10 PM curfew?
I think you're gonna get me arrested, that's
No.
what I think.
Coincides with the noise.
It would, and I can tell you that in coming from Claremont, it was a useful tool for me to investigate further, because they had a boat launch and it was closed at dark. We didn't have to worry about time, because sometimes people don't have time. If it's dark, you're not supposed to be
Oh,
there.
that's a good idea.
So, because usually nothing good happens at dark
Yeah.
you can't see
Right.
unless you're goofing off. So I don't have an issue with that idea. It would be another tool for us to affect change.
Now, hypothetical question. Couple of servers and a cook at one of the kitchens or bartender or something get done work at 11:30 and run over and jump in the ladies on the way home. And it's a 10 o'clock curfew and it's 11:30 at night.
Yeah.
How bad is that slap on the hand?
That would be for your
But probably the
decision
beer
during
is
the
picking up.
ordinance
that was
creation.
picked up.
Yeah.
And again, it's everything that we have for town ordinances, state laws, federal laws. It's a tool in a tool belt that we don't always bring out the biggest tool to affect change. If it's one person that dips and jumps in the car and leaves, chances are they're gonna be gone before I get there. If they're hanging out and drinking beer or whatever else they're doing, chances are they're not gonna just be there. And the likelihood of them creating a problem goes up the longer they stay and the more beer they drink. So therefore, that tool will be, hey, weren't you here last week? Maybe. Okay, here's your ticket. Don't do it again, because warnings sometimes work, but tickets have a lasting effect. And again, a town ordinance citation here, it effectively is nothing. Everything that we have looks like a parking ticket. So if you do a town ordinance anything, we write it on a parking ticket and then you go downstairs and take care of it. So it's in the big picture, it stings a little bit, but you're not gonna avoid college, you're not gonna lose your job, you're not gonna lose your license because we wrote you a ticket because you had an open container somewhere. It's not that detrimental. Some people who are late at night, they're a little traumatized because they've had a few beers and my life is over. No, it's a ticket. You gotta pay $50. So
my life is over.
My life is over.
Okay.
You ruined my life.
And my assumption would be that you would not patrol it or even observe it at night unless there was a call that came in.
or we have problems like there's littering or there's, right, if we have a directive that says, you know what, it's
It's a
really
problem.
noisy at this spot, we should go check on it. Okay, now we go there.
Right.
And I can tell you when officers are looking to be proactive and there's literally nothing going on in town, they will make their way down there because I know 10 years ago, this used to be a party spot. I'm gonna go look, see if they're partying. But again,
There's a car in
understand.
that parking lot at after 10,
Yep,
then it's probably gonna cause
Yeah.
a walk down to the,
Right.
to see what's going on.
yeah.
Right.
But I think that is fair. I think people will really want to go in after dark or after 10 o'clock anyway, even
And
if
you
there's a.
see what you say.
Like you said, if they're wild, they'll get caught. If they're not, they'll be fine.
I totally agree with you. They
Yeah.
will. And 90% of the time, it's not an issue.
It's not an issue.
Right.
But if it's an issue enough that someone in those condos calls and said, there's tons of noise and it's 11 o'clock, you have a tool to use.
Right.
Somebody's gonna call from the condo that, oh, it's 10:01 and there's still a car there. So we know that's gonna happen.
That's
Yes.
what they do.
We
Again,
know what's gonna
and
happen.
these guys-
What's gonna happen from us? Almost nothing. We're gonna go over there and go,
That's okay.
come on, we're getting some noise.
Let's
People are making comments. We don't want to be here.
right.
We don't want you here. Move along.
Move along.
And no paper will come out at 10:01. I'm pretty confident nothing's gonna happen at 10:01.
Yeah.
Other than maybe a phone call, but we're not gonna do anything. at 10:01.
I think we have to trust the judgment of the police that they're not gonna do, they're not gonna enforce a rule just because it's 10:01 and the rule says 10.
Correct.
But
Well,
they'll
if
have the
it's
tool to
11:30 and
use.
a couple waitresses are
I'd
taking
like to
it back to
know,
work.
do you ever have anybody try to sneak into the wheel steel to take a dip? That's-
We're not gonna discuss that in public.
Did you do it, O'Shea? Did you sneak in?
Just asking.
When we adjourn, I'll tell you a
Okay.
story.
I think we have reasonable officers that will not be a problem. And again, if it is a problem, we can revisit it, but I don't think it would.
And I think it's their right to call too, if they're disturbed at, after
Yeah.
10 o'clock, it's their right to call you, so.
Yeah, we get noise complaints in midday.
I'm trying to cut down the number.
No
of
joke.
calls. I'm telling people who are calling me to call you. It's like,
I never call them.
Yeah.
But it,
Oh, I do.
it
I mean,
applies,
recently I've called
to-
them.
the rules apply to people that live down there too. So if someone
Yeah.
calls and it's someone from 2 units down that decide to walk up and have a party, they need to know, just because they live there doesn't mean they're exempt from the rule.
Goes without saying to me.
I just wanted that out there
No,
because.
yeah. I think the idea is to make it a calmer living space for them.
Yeah.
And I get. how
But they
feel.
have renters that come in too.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
That,
They
I
do.
think, is I would say, a larger scale of our problem is
I think so,
people are
too.
here for a weekend and what rules?
I think so
Right.
too, yeah.
Yeah.
They're
There's a lot
my
of date
$50
numbers
ticket,
there, too.
$100 ticket is gonna start smartening them up quicker because even though they can afford it, they don't like it. They
Right.
really don't like it.
That could be gas money to get home too.
Well, I appreciate.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem at all.
Thanks
Look
so
forward to
much.
hearing from you next week.
Okay, and
Yeah.
hopefully you're not gonna talk to the chief again, so, but if you do, tell him we appreciate him driving 2 miles to kind of phone service.
Yeah, I told him, I said, unless there's an earth-shattering decision, I won't update you. I'll talk to you Monday.
Good.
So he says, oh yeah, he's having a good time fishing and he's fishing with family and
Yeah.
make the connection. I said, go vacation. I'll take care of this.
Yeah.
It's going well.
Oh,
So
good,
other than that,
good.
Good.
Thank
that it
you.
for me?
Yeah,
Thank you,
Okay.
sir.
Thank
you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Have a good rest of your week.
Thank you.
All right, we got a couple of other things here.
I guess so.
One is the short-term rental regulations. I think we already voted on this.
So
We
you
just need
did
to sign
vote,
it.
and I want to post it on the website. We've been getting a lot of
Just see a
calls,
signature.
You just need a signed
Signature,
copy.
right.
and a lot of condo associations, I spoke to Coolidge Falls today, said, thank you. Because they've been trying to get a handle on this and enforce it, and they've had
Oh, good.
no grit behind it, and now they really feel they do, and they're mailing this along with the application to everybody there.
Good.
So they're really grateful. We've gotten an overwhelming amount of phone calls already, so.
Carol was just on the phone when I went to go get a thumb drive
Yeah.
with someone explaining it.
So we're gonna create a system though, to organize this, because we didn't discuss that part. There's a lot of work, and I came in Tuesday morning, I'm like, Butch,
There is a system, I know.
well, we have to create it. We don't have one.
Right, to
To
the
accept the
Track
money,
them.
track the money, who
track
has
the
the
money.
Yeah.
Can you put it online?
All you need
Well,
is
I'm not
someone-
even talking about that, Jane. I'm talking about as the people, I think they're gonna be very diligent with it. So what I did was I ordered and I got a whole bunch of red folders. So what I'm gonna do, say you have a short-term rental. In your map and lot file, I'm gonna open the drawer, there's a red folder. That red folder means that's short-term rental, and any paperwork relevant to that, your application, when you paid, all that information will be there.
Perfect.
That's the only way I think of if we're gonna do it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And if I'm not here, somebody else can go look in the map and lot and say, yep. You know what I mean?
Yep, I do.
And then-
I do.
But we gotta get it computerized too, so that
Yes.
it's gonna be an annual renewal.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we got to,
Right, right.
there's gonna be a tickler file so that because it could change hands.
Absolutely.
Undoubtedly, some of these short-term rentals are gonna change ownership.
Oh, yeah, they'll sell it.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
so,
so would stay with the map.
it's-
and lot
so
number,
we're trying
yeah.
to work through that so that
Thank you, Jean, yeah.
hopefully the new hire and we'll get. And I'd like to I started initial talks with John on getting a credit card payment system on town hall side. as-
Okay,
Which people can just do it online, it'll go right into our
Yep.
accounts and then
Yep.
the stuff will come in and it'll already be in a computerized mode, things like that.
fantastic.
So I wonder,
Is this the right amount?
Woodstock, when you go to their webpage, Judy has it, you could pay to register your dog,
Everything.
pay for your motor vehicles, pay your taxes. And where I'm going with this is, why not, we could pay for credit cards online, instead of reinventing the wheel, add a button for short-term rentals, and they could So it all
Money
goes
can
through
all
the
go through the town
ACH?
clerk's office too.
Exactly.
It can. It absolutely can.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, I do too.
Let them pay online with a credit card. We're gonna need the piece of paper back.
Well, we have, right,
So, you know,
well,
Yeah.
Right.
and then the other thing is, we don't have a fillable form system, it's a software, we're gonna have to purchase to have fillable
We
forms.
do, the
No, we don't.
points, with the points, you can fill those
That's,
out.
that is, well, what that is, that's an Excel spreadsheet.
Gotcha, I gotcha.
Okay,
So
I have
you can-
another idea with that for Carol's planning board fees, but what I'm thinking for what we were talking about, so they can bring it up online, fill it
Fill it
in,
out,
and send it, we're
submit,
gonna,
and we
I
can
don't
print
think
it.
it's gonna be expensive, I can ask certified, whatever the software is.
Yeah.
Cause that we need to implement in order for them to do it and just forget the paper, and like Butch said, keep it all digital as much as possible.
Sure,
I mean,
But
because
it'll
it's
be nice to
amazing,
get there,
people are
yeah.
lining up. They
yeah, good.
want to register.
Well, thank you for that, appreciate
Is
it.
it, we just gotta get
Yeah.
the streaming of this stuff behind the scenes together.
It's gonna be coming fast and furious, and then it's what you're thinking once it's.
Well,
I-
and
I'm
right-
thinking faster than I expected, Jim.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
really,
really?
well, I figured there'd be push for them. I mean, there may be some, but it looks like people are like this, we're surprised this hasn't happened before now. It's that type of attitude, you know? what I'm saying?
yeah, and I think like, just the idea that the condos are looking for this, again, a tool in their belt.
Yeah.
That they're having trouble controlling short-term rentals within their
Yeah.
association, and now we're empowering them with the tool, they're excited about it. So
Yeah.
I think it's great.
I agree.
All right, so yeah, that's just signing it, and I'll post that when I get back to my desk.
29.
Does that look all right?
Yeah, I just added it up. I wanted to do it at home, and I didn't know you were gonna be signing tonight, so I just, it looks fine.
Well, I just wanted to get it done because I'm going on vacation. I won't be
Oh,
here
yeah, no
Monday, but you
worries.
guys will all be set up. I'm gonna
Yeah.
set up tomorrow for your meeting Monday, but that's one less thing, and I know we can get it to
And
John.
yeah, John did this, and
Yeah,
this will allow her to get the the check cut
that's awesome.
and refund him and
I know.
see what's gonna take place with that. All right, we have another abatement request.
Okay.
And this is on the land where we condemned the house. Is-
Oh, yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
And we condemned the house, but we're still taxing it. Yeah,
Well, it
no,
was supposed to be, the fire department was supposed to use it as a training and burn it, but then COVID happened and we couldn't do that,
right.
but we're still taxing them. Hopefully that'll happen this coming winter or, after the snowfall. So yeah, it
But the house
theoretically
isn't
wouldn't
worth-
be there
Yeah,
anyway.
but it's not worth anything.
It's not.
It's not happening.
And if it weren't for the coronavirus, crisis, it wouldn't be there. So
Right,
I agree with it.
So the, according to the assessment, the total assessment right now is 112,400, of which 61,900 is land and 50,500 is the building. And we've been asked to abate the 50,500 for the building.
I'll make a motion.
Okay,
I'll make a motion that we abate that. What is it, 50?
50,500.
Thank you.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye. Holy gosh, that's a lot of money for a condemned house. Mine must be worth a lot more.
Is it condemned?
Excuse me.
Just about.
Do you need a non-public? No.
You know that we got copied on an email this morning
Oh, we did.
from someone who's interested in joining a fire department.
Oh, yes.
Did you see that?
I didn't
You
get
were,
it.
you were in there.
You were in that chain,
I was.
You were CC'd.
yeah?
I think you've talked with me before.
Yeah, it's, I know you're familiar with this, just want you to know that he's,
He's pressing hard to get on.
well, he sent us a resume again, and obviously, I can look at a resume and be impressed or not
Here's the
impressed, but
deal.
it's Ron's,
Right, it's
Ron's
Ron's deal. He
deal.
won't come in and talk with him.
okay,
Okay, so that's the deal.
we're out.
Without mentioning names.
We're
Yes, Okay,
That Ron hires him
with my approval.
with your approval.
That's correct.
So
So that's where it needs to
step
go,
one is
is him.
face to
and-
face with Ron.
What time did that come in?
Because I don't.
It was like 7:30 this morning.
We'll be back that far.
I'll,
I'm busy with meetings.
So
All right,
we
and
don't-
then,
I'll forward it
22.
to you again.
The other thing I wanted to bring up is, we talked at our meeting, I believe, about the construction on the Breck Street that was going on.
Yeah.
He was issued a cease and
Cease and
desist,
desist.
and he has been in contact to want to discuss this further.
Yep, he called me today too.
Okay, as far as I'm concerned, if he wants to come in and address the board, he needs to address all of us in a public forum, not me or anyone else going to the property, having a conversation. It's a public issue that we all discussed, and if there's any redress that wants to come to us, it should be all three of us. So
Yeah, it's-
I'm going to let him know that I'm not gonna come out and meet with him either here or there, but if he wants to come to a board meeting, that he can get on our agenda and
Absolutely.
address all of us.
Absolutely,
Um,
yeah.
With that being said, I think the directive came from the planning department and was directing him to go to planning board or ZBA. But if he wants to address us, I'm not gonna say no, but I'm not sure if that's the right next step.
Well, I mean, anybody's entitled to come in and talk to you,
Yeah.
that's,
And we've done that with other people. We didn't know if they
but
belonged in front of us, but they're welcome
he
to
should
come.
spend
sit.
his energies getting before whichever, I believe. I think he's
ZBA.
probably going back to the planning board, but
Okay,
I don't know which board that Carol has.
Yes, go on the ZBA.
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 Okay, so yes, so
So,
that's where his energy should be.
Are we privy to know whether, we probably aren't, whether he's gonna bring an attorney or not, or
I
just,
don't know.
we don't?
We don't know that, James.
Okay, until they get here, all right. That's fine.
so I just wanted to let you know that request was made, and the response is gonna be an invitation to come here if that's.
Oh,
that's the
absolutely,
wishes.
yeah.
Before the entire board, no individual meeting.
Correct.
No, correct, yeah.
And then
Motion to adjourn.
Oh, are we adjourned?
Yes.
that's-
okay.
We've done everything.
All right, I second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, it's a quick meeting.
You know,